Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Adonis podcast. Before we get started, I want to let you know I may not be on TikTok much longer because they are adding restrictions and strikes to my accounts. This originally started yesterday when I shared some screenshots about an argument I had with an old friend of mine, and TikTok removed them, said it violated their policy. As usual, they didn't explain exactly what that policy was. And then almost a month ago, I had posted something about Clavicular and the Tate brothers, and I called them the R word. And TikTok just removed that post and added another strike to the account. Funny how I posted it and it got likes and views, and I posted this back in June, like I said, almost a month ago. They didn't give a shit. Now, all of a sudden they give a shit. Are they gonna go through all my old posts and start adding restrictions and shit? They're just looking for an excuse to ban me. That's why they're doing this. They've decided they don't like my content, and they're looking for an excuse to ban me. So, honestly, I might even be gone by the end of this live stream. We'll see. But I don't think I'm going to be on this TikTok account for much longer before they permanently disabled the account. Alright, so yesterday I made a podcast episode about my roommate, Noah Meserve, or however the fuck you say his name. Basically, we had a situation because out of nowhere, Noah decided to start commenting about my personal business on TikTok to random strangers, despite the fact that he has my phone number and he could have called or messaged me like he did today. But go ahead and watch that if you want to. It's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's everywhere. We're here today because the story continues. Basically, Noah saw the podcast, and listen, I made the podcast to tell my side of the story because he's only telling his side of the story and he's exaggerating certain parts of it. And once again, like, Noah used to be my roommate, so this is kind of a personal thing because this is stuff that happened in my personal life. There are certain things that you don't just put out on the internet for everyone to see. And he has my number, he could have called, he could have messaged me, but no, he decided to try to extort me and embarrass me by trying to make take the situation out of context and put it out for the whole world to see. I ain't fuck with that, so I made a podcast about it. I called him out for it. And after I ended last night's live stream, I decided that the podcast just wasn't enough. And I decided, since he decided to expose something personal of mine, I was going to expose something personal of his. What happened to the Instagram? My old account, Adonis Ultimate, got banned for no reason. I have a new one up. It's Adonis.ultimate. I was just on it earlier today, so I think it's still up, but now that you brought it up, I'm going to check. Yeah, nope, it's still up. If you go, so it's almost identical to my previous username. Following ASAP, thank you, Trap. So if you go to Adonis.ultimate, that's my account right there. Listen, Instagram is having a bug right now where they are banning accounts at random, and unless you have the blue check mark already, you're not getting your account back. And my account is taking a lot slower to grow than it has with every other account I've had in the past, so. Also, guys, if you ever want to debate me on a topic, hit the request button. I do political debates. I might do some comic book debates in the future, but the request box is there. Back to the story. I decided that the podcast wasn't enough, and because he exposed something personal of mine, I decided to expose something personal of his. So I posted his phone number to my story. And I put in the text, since Noah has decided, matter of fact, let me read this out to you exactly because I don't want to misquote myself. Since Noah has decided we're sharing each other's personal business on the internet, here's his phone number. And I just left it there. He then proceeded to text me earlier this afternoon, basically blaming the whole situation on me. And let me scroll back up. I'm reading through his text message right now. He said, posting my number online is crazy. No one gives a fuck. If you got time to film your shitty podcast. And there's a lot of personal shit in here because, listen, we lived in the same house together. And when you live with someone, regardless of your situation, whether it's a roommate situation, family situation, regardless of it, when you live with other people, they're going to see parts of you that people from outside of your household don't see. Which means that they're going to see certain parts of you that you would most likely keep private, whether you want them to see it or not. But we did a big back and forth. He's claiming that I'm lying. I'm claiming that he's lying. There's a lot of he said, I said shit going on. Then he raises this to a fucking 20 by claiming that he is going to go file a police report for harassment and doxing because I made a podcast about him and posted his phone number online. Despite the fact that this all started because he posted my information online, then he said, oh, it's not harassment, and he said, there was nothing that I said that specifically identified you. Yo, what's up, Samuel? He said, there's nothing that I said or did that specifically identified you. I'm like, dude, I'm not stupid. You tracked down my TikTok account and commented on my post saying, guys, he did this, he owes me this. We're not stupid. We know that clearly identifies as me. And it's not like I just woke up and decided, listen, I haven't heard from this guy in months. I moved out before the summer started. I haven't heard from him since then. Out of the blue, he decides to start this shit with me. Once again, he could have handled this more maturely if by calling my fucking phone, He reached out to me today. He unblocked me because yesterday I also explained how he had blocked my number. Well, he's unblocked me and we texted for quite a good minute. So he's claiming that I'm harassing him despite the fact that he's the one who started this. Not only did he go to my TikTok, but and I don't know if he commented on my Instagram either before, during, or after I was texting him, but I opened my Instagram while I was texting him, and I saw. So what are you gonna do now? Well, I'll get to that. Well, this is my second wave of revenge. This is what I'm doing now. When I opened my Instagram, I saw that he was sharing more of my personal information online. He went to my Instagram account and commented things and shared screenshots and other images as proof of what had been said and done. This time, it didn't even have anything to do with him. I'm not gonna say what it was because, like I said, it's personal shit. But it literally had nothing to do with him. He wants to claim that I'm harassing him by exposing the snake and scumbag that he is. But listen, when he first commented on my TikTok account, I blocked his account. So he then went to my Instagram and commented even worse shit than before. If you're commenting on someone's social media account and they block you, so you then go to another platform where you're not blocked to comment again, that's harassment. That is legally, y'all can look this up if you don't believe me, that is legally harassment. If someone blocks you on one account, they are sending a clear message that they do not want you there. They do not want to hear from you. So for you to then go to a separate social media account, especially if you're doing the same thing, this guy is just trying to embarrass and extort me. Yeah, that is the definition of harassment. And then he tried to give me an ultimatum. He was like, oh, I'll delete this comment if you'd like, but the other one will stay. Okay, yeah, you can do that. Or I could just block your account, which I did, which deleted everything. The whole thread that he posted, it's all deleted now because I blocked him. What do you think? Do you think I'm slow? Do you genuinely think I'm slow? So I told him straight up, you continue to share info you have no business sharing. Because the prior situation actually did involve both of us, but the second situation only involved me. He just so happens to know about it. He wasn't even supposed to know about it, but he does. And he decided to share that anyway. So I told him, you continue to share info you have no business sharing, yet you're going to the cops because I shared your info after you shared mine. And I was specifically talking about how you went to TikTok instead of reaching out to me directly. Don't twist the story around. He's complaining that, oh, well, I did reach out to you multiple times. No, you didn't. And going to TikTok isn't going to save your problem. You didn't reach out to me multiple times. Listen, I've spoken to him maybe twice since I've moved out of his place. Let's see, he's calling me a hypocrite. Oh, he also said that he's going to file a restraining order on me. So you know how I was saying in yesterday's episode that this guy is bitch made? And I could tell because, all he does is play video games. If your only hobby is playing video games, you're a bitch. But then on top of that, he was also a fucking slob. He left the house a mess. He let a chicken rot in the fridge for a week. And he always tried to shift the blame to me and the other roommate, but we knew that it was him and not us. There was just no way to prove it, but we both knew it was him. And he's just a shitty person. Well, today he further proved my point that he is bitch made. Because he basically exposed me for information, personal information, that should not be out on the internet. In return, I leaked his phone number. Which, honestly, anyone can look up your phone number online. I would argue that what he did is worse than what I did. Sorry, there is someone laughing in the background. Because, listen, I don't regret what I did. I do it again. You're gonna fucking dox me online? Okay, I'm gonna double dox you. So instead of being mature about it, he instead decides to dig up even more personal info that has nothing to do with him and put it out on the internet. He decides to go to another platform because he's blocked on the first one and then claim that I'm the harasser. I don't think that's a word, but I'm going to use it as a word anyway. He's claiming that I'm harassing him when all I did was just tell my side of the story. He literally doubled down and then he had the balls to say, oh, by the way, you're harassing me. I'm going to get a restraining order. What kind of full-grown adult man starts shit with another man, and then when the other man fights back, they go and run to the fucking cops and ask for a restraining order over a fucking phone number, mind you? It genuinely amazes me how much of the youth have not even a fraction of an idea of how restraining orders work, or anything in the legal system for that matter. You can't just walk into the station and demand a restraining order or file a report and ask for the option of a restraining order. You have to go to the actual courthouse and file it completely separately. You don't even go to the station to file that. It's a completely separate thing entirely. So yeah, he keeps proving that he's an idiot and that he's a bitch. Clearly I need to get my own recording studio. Okay, I'm losing my train of thought here. But this is just another situation of someone who clearly started the problem, because, dude, I'm not gonna wake up randomly and decide to post someone's number online because I don't like them or for whatever reason. Bro, you literally started this shit with me. And because I didn't let you wipe your feet on my ass like a doormat, now you're going to the fucking cops about it? You started this shit, and what kind of full-grown man files a restraining order on another man? I mean, I get that's kind of hypocritical because I try to do the same thing to my cousin. I try to file a restraining order on my cousin, but he kidnapped me, tried to hurt me, and I was also a lot younger than I am now. I was actually still a teenager, so that's a completely different situation, and I would argue that kidnapping someone is much more extreme than leaking their phone number. Put one in the chat if you've ever heard of someone getting a restraining order because they leaked a phone number. It's absolutely ridiculous. Ironically, okay, so I went from last year putting up with the cops on an almost daily basis to this year, now the cops don't engage with me at all. We've got two parallel storylines, the first one being Mari, the second one being Noah. Both people threatened to go to the cops, and both people threatened to get restraining orders, and then nothing happened. I mean, this case is still fresh because it still happened today. He very well could have put in a report. Maybe I'll hear from the cops later. I don't know. But I haven't heard anything, and I honestly don't think I will. Because, listen, the cops don't like me. They will lock me up the minute they have an excuse to. But I genuinely don't think the cops are going to give a shit about some online ex-roommate beef. Like, okay, you posted his information, so then he posted yours, so now you want a restraining order. I mean, this is the same concept of the whole Mari situation, too, where it's, I can do whatever I want to you, but you can't do anything back to me in return. Because I don't just wake up and start fights with people. I'm always provoked, so to say. I'm not the kind of person to go out looking for problems, but if you bring the trouble to me, I will make sure I finish the fight. What topic do you debate about? Mostly politics. I'm talking about something else in this episode, though. I also, because he claimed that my whole podcast is one giant harassment case because I talk about people like him and expose people for who they are, to which I said it's not harassment to exercise my freedom of speech and expose the truth about snakes like you. We also, okay, so I'm not going to go into the details about what exactly we were discussing because, like I said, it is personal. Although, once I send this to him, because once I wrap up this episode, I'm going to send this episode directly to him and tell him to update his goddamn police report. Chances are, knowing him, if he wants to keep causing trouble like he's been doing, he'll probably just post screenshots of all of this later on his own account or something. He's got something up his sleeve. He's got to do something. But I'm not going to be the one to expose myself. Listen, I know I operate online in the spotlight a lot, but we all have our personal lives. We all have our secrets. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing or that we're bad people. We all have personal shit going on in our lives that we don't want to share with the public, myself included. I will tell you, though, that the situation we were discussing involved the aftermath of the attacks from FSU, mainly FSU costing me my job, which put me in a pretty bad situation. He claimed he clearly hasn't listened to enough of my podcast or doesn't know anything. He doesn't know what he's talking about, but he basically claimed that the reason why I lost my job is because I was using my podcast to harass people. And I explained to him, listen, for those of y'all who don't know the story, the FSU community tracked me down to my job and they essentially tried to get me fired. They tried to use the excuse because, listen, FSU, everyone involved with FSU for the most part, they not only hate my podcast, but they also hate me as a person. And they, for a long time, have been trying to do anything they can to put me down. They are evil fucking people. So they tracked me down to my job and they tried to get me fired by showing my bosses the stuff that I was saying on my podcast and the stuff that I was saying online. That wasn't enough for my bosses to give a shit because it had nothing to do with the company. It was something I was doing in my own personal time and I wasn't doing anything illegal. Or depending on how you look at it, I wasn't doing anything that was necessarily wrong. Once again, it depends on the person because there are some people who are just offended by absolutely everything and they'll tell you that I'm a horrible person simply because they disagree with what I have to say. Because FSU couldn't get me fired off of the podcast alone, they started making up lies and shit and basically went out of their way to make me look like some sort of demented, insane criminal. There were multiple people, mostly sorority girls, but there were multiple people from the FSU community who went to my job and filed several false complaints. To put things into perspective, one person literally told my boss that I had plans to shoot people. Like, that's how serious the accusations were. And it got so bad that I got pulled into the office and we had a discussion and I had to leave the company. I went from that company to Whataburger, where I didn't last long there, although for different, non-related FSU reasons. However, FSU, before I left that company, FSU did find out that I worked there, and they tried to cause problems for me too. Most recently, Lando pulled up. Luckily, I wasn't working that day, but Lando pulled up to that Whataburger looking to fight me while I was on the job. So yeah, it seems like as long as FSU has an eye on me and they can keep track of where I work and where I hang out at, they're gonna come after me. So like I was explaining to Noah all of this. What's up? You're back. And I was explaining how what the FSU community has done to me has affected. Like I am still dealing with the aftermath of some of these FSU attacks. And this isn't the first time either. This year they've been coming after my jobs. The year before that, when I lived at Nova, they came after me over an Annabelle doll, and they did simple shit by leaving trash at my door to bigger shit. Like one person literally tried to. Who is that in the background? That's my roommate. But one person literally tried to throw a brick through my window. I actually have developed slight PTSD from some of the shit that FSU has done to me because of how bad it got. But hey, their argument is that I deserve it because I'm a horrible person because they can't handle the way I speak. So, let me see what else here. So, in the end, Noah is like the bitch boy that he is, suddenly backs down. You know, this guy came at me with such an aggression and he was pretending to be such an alpha male, talking about how, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the cops and I'm gonna file a restraining order because you leaked my phone number. I'm like, okay, dude. Yeah, really manly of you to start shit with me, and then when you face repercussions, you run to the police and try to get a fucking restraining order over a goddamn phone number. Like, my whole point of yesterday's episode is that he's bitch made. And every single text... Oh, look, I got restricted again. Bullying and harassment. Okay, TikTok. I'll deal with it later. As I was saying, I keep getting interrupted. But yeah, this guy, he's hypocritical, he's a liar, he's a scumbag. How do you know you got restricted? Because they sent me a notification that my account got restricted for apparently bullying and harassment. I swear, I can't talk on here for more than 10 minutes before they restrict me for some bullshit. Hang on. How do I get out?
Doesn't that mean someone's reporting it?
Probably. It's probably him. Probably the person that I'm talking about is watching it from an Anon account and reporting it.
Pretty sure that's like that. TikTok don't just be actually watching that shit.
Oh no, they do. TikTok sucks. I can still... Well, yeah, because you follow me, so you could still watch it, but what the restriction does is it doesn't recommend my live stream to anyone who doesn't follow me, which shrinks my audience. It sucks, but there's nothing I can really do about it. This is why I go live on Kick instead, because they don't restrict me for no reason. So yeah, so Noah came at me with this huge alpha male energy. Yeah, I'm so tough that I can't handle my own problems. I have to go to the police station, to the shitty police station, because mind you, I think this guy still lives in Tallahassee. But the Tallahassee Police Department is the worst police department in the entire state of Florida. They literally do not give a single flying shit about their jobs. And this guy is so strong that he's gonna go to the worst cops in the city to handle a phone number. Real strong. So he sends me this final text. The aggression is not necessary. Look, man, I really do wish you the best. I hope you get out of whatever hole you're in and get help because you're clearly struggling, and I get that. But this kind of stuff is a slippery slope, and I hope it doesn't lead to anything worse for you. My report is filed, and if given the option, a restraining order will be filed against you as well. I apologize that my joke offended you. Oh yeah, that's the other thing that he pointed out too. He literally posts a bunch of my personal information online And then when I strike back, this is one of his arguments, is that, oh, it was all a joke. Oh yeah, go ahead and extort me and dox me and harass me and then call it a joke. Shout me out. Shout out Samuel. I'm not repeating that. No. But he goes on to say, I hope one day you get the assistance you need. Justice system doesn't work that fast, but we shall see what happens, I guess. So, typical situation, I win the argument, and to hide the facts that they're a loser, the person then hits a typical, oh, well, you're a loser, and you're a criminal, so I'm going to call the police on you, and... So I said to him, out of curiosity, exactly what crime did you file the report under? Never got a response to that question. Wow. You know, I'm starting to think Noah and Mari would actually make a perfect couple because there are so many fucking parallels between the two. Mari also said that she was going to go to the cops, and I asked her, well, what crime are you reporting me for? And she couldn't give me a fucking answer. These two are fucking soulmates. They'd literally be perfect for each other. But I told Noah, you're a fucking hypocrite starting shit with me and then bitching to the cops because, surprise, surprise, I didn't allow you to walk all over me. Trying to get me in jail over a phone number, but I wish you the best. Spare me your sympathy. You're only wasting your time. So now he's going back on his word. He says, who is Mari? Mari is that Italian chick that I fought like a month or two ago. But he said, I never said I'm trying to put you in jail. I merely want a paper trail and record of this interaction to exist and for everyone to be safe. I have no ill will towards you, man, for real though. This thing ain't serious enough to be blowing up at each other for. So then I said, well, it sounds pretty serious for you to be going to the cops about it. And if you actually have no ill will towards me, then you are a fucking idiot. I haven't heard from him in a couple hours, so I guess he ran out of shit to say. But if this continues, either with police involvement or if he decides to start some shit after I send him this episode, you know, can I go live without going on camera? Yeah, you can. I don't know. Do you want to save it for the next episode? Are you trying to debate or what are you trying to do? Sorry guys, I'm usually more focused, but I'm trying out notes just to chat with you. Yeah. I'm trying out this new live streaming thing. Why would I debate? I don't know, because I do debates on here. Let me wrap this up, and then, yeah, I'll let you on. I can't now. Okay. Yeah, I'm still getting a hang of this whole live streaming thing. It's a little distracting trying to answer questions and also keep your train of thought and say what you need to say. But you gotta lock in. I know, you keep distracting me. Was the point I was getting at, but yeah, we'll see what happens. It's, you know, it's crazy to me how he came at me with such a strong aggression and like this will to put me down, and then when he saw that I wouldn't back down, he ended up being the one that backed down, like the bitch boy that he is, because he's a bitch. He's bitch made. Like I said in the last episode, he's bitch made, and he's proven my point again today. Listen, I will go to jail for this guy if that's what it takes. I will not hesitate to put this buffoon in his place. Because I'm not really here because I have to be. I'm here because I want to be. To me, there is no greater pleasure than putting my enemies in their place and showing them exactly where they belong. Yes, I said it. Listen, guys, I try my best to live on morals and principles, But when someone fucks with me, that kind of goes out the window. There is genuinely no line that I won't cross to get back at somebody or to put someone in their place. I'll probably end up in jail sooner or later. Probably not this time, but most definitely in the future. I don't know. Maybe we'll get lucky tonight. Maybe we'll get lucky. And I'll actually get in jail tonight and everyone's wish will come true. We'll see. Well, that's it for today's live stream. I might hop on later. Okay. I am gonna go dig up more personal information on this guy and post it on the internet. Since he wants to expose all my personal shit, I'm going to find every ounce of personal information that I can about this guy, and I am going to post it for the entire world to see. I'm gonna beat him at his own fucking game. Anyway, thanks for listening. This is the Adonis Podcast.